Okay, so we're on the final task on section 4.4 here. This one is asking you to take the user's name, take name as an input from the user, so you're going to put enter your name. It's the same for each, there are 3 different types it's showing you. So you can do that, you've done that plenty of times. If the name has 3 or fewer letters, your program should print out, hi, whatever their name, comma, you have a short name. Okay, so that's if. Now that's the important one. You've been doing ifs in the previous section, so you can go back and look at those. So there's the first option. But there's another if. What if the name is between 4 and 8 letters inclusive? So if it's got 4 and 8 and anything in between, then you should say hi, whatever they put in there. So that's going to be a variable, isn't it? Comma, nice to meet you. So not you have a short name this time. Nice to meet you. There's a third option. If the name has more than 8 letters, your program should work like this. So here's one with more than 8. Hi, Yasmina, you have a long name. So there are 3 different types. This means that you're going to need to use an ELIF in all of this. And it might be the logic that causes you some problems with this. So I've done some code over here. Now this isn't what you're going to need to do. Okay, you're asking for a name. I'm putting a number in here. You're eventually going to get a number by checking the length of this name, but you're not asking for an integer input on yours, you're asking for them text. So don't be putting integer input on yours. But on mine, because I'm working with a number, I've said that we're going to get a mark. Now let's assume that if you get more than 50, then you're going to pass. Okay, so in this particular example, I've put an if and an else in, and the only thing I'm saying is that if the mark is more than 50, print you have passed, else you have failed. The if and the else have to be on the same level as each other as well. So I'm going to put 51 in, and indeed it tells me that I have passed. Now what if we add in an extra, say that out of the marks that you could get if you got above 75, let's say that you are going to get a merit. So if your mark is above 75, can we just add this in here to print that you have a merit? So I'll type that in and run the program again, and this time I'll put a value in where we got more than 50, in fact more than 75, so let's say 86. So I'll type in 86 and I've got a pass. You have passed. Now I got 86, so I was expecting to have a merit. But this is what I was talking about, the logic of this before. First line of the program asks for a mark, enter your mark, we put 86. So mark now has a value of 86. If mark is greater than 50, well 86 is greater than 50, so it's going to go down this line, you have passed. Once it's done that, it ignores everything else. If is a condition. It's a choice. You choose that path, or else finally that path. So as soon as it's chosen one, it ignores the rest of them. So you have to think about where you position your bits of code. So what we'd have to do is reconfigure it so that now we have the mark greater than 75 is the very first one, because if it's greater than 75, in this case it is. And so when it's greater than 75, it's going to go down this route. You have a merit, which it's done that. Now if I've got 51, 51 isn't greater than 75, so it's going to come down here and says, is the mark greater than 50? Well, yes, it is 51, so I'll still get a pass. And if I've got 49, that's not true, that's not true, so I'm down with the else, and therefore I've failed. Okay, so you do need to think about, in the code for this particular one, exactly what it is you're going to be asked to do. And in this instance, as I've said, you are looking at entering a name. So this has been run 3 times. So your enter your name is going to be your thing up here, but not with an int. The black is what you're going to type in at this point to test it. So you could test it with all these 3 names, and then if you test it with Lynn, you should get this. So hi, hi, and hi is the same on each of these things. So that's got to be there all the time. The comma after the name is there on each of them, so you're going to have to put that in yourself within the text. So this section here is one bit of text, this is another bit of text, and the name is whatever's typed in there. So that's going to be your variable. I had mark here, but mine was a number. Yours will just be input. So that variable is going to be there. So you're going to need to join text to a variable to more text. You're going to be also checking the length of that variable. Okay, so in there you are going to have to use the function len. Okay, so if you had your variable called name, then you're going to have to be checking the length of name somewhere in your code here as well. So to recap, you're asked to enter a name, okay, which is a little bit like an input there. Don't use integer. Enter a name, then check for that 3 or few, 4 and 8, more than 8 is going to be this part here. So you're checking there. You'll have an else at the end, and these print bits are where you're going to be joining together your variables. This length of name is going to be part of your check up here. These 3 separate bits are these that you're going to be doing. Okay, so they're going to be in here, and that's where you're going to have to join text to a variable to more text.